Today's review is the first beer from the Beer Dad subscription that I bought. This is a Double Uranus or Uranus. It's a double IPA, 8%. We have Mutueka, Rakau and Mosaic. But what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going to outer space. Yep, we're going to Uranus, or Uranus, however you want to pronounce it. And this is a Double Uranus. It's 8% from Phantom Brewing. I didn't mention that in the introduction. So Phantom Brewing, they've released a whole different types of these space or planet themes. I think you've got, Mars and Jupiter, all the rest of it, of different types of beer. They've got a Uranus. And this is a double version of it. I think the Uranus is obviously it's a pale ale, and obviously this is so it's a 4% pale ale, so it's a 8% double IPA. Mutueka, Rakau, Mosaic. It's got lager, oats, and wheat malt. So 3 types of malt. I don't always get lager malts in double IPAs, do you? I know that's strange. And the yeast is A38 juice. Yeah, a lot of breweries don't put the type of yeast they use. London Fog's one's a big use one, and I think there's a verdant yeast as well. But I've not heard of A38 juice. But let's crack it open, get it in glass, and see what it's all about. I said this was part of the Beer Dad box that I bought, which was I got 10 beers for about 27.5 quid, which is pretty damn good. And I've drank a couple of them, not reviewed. The Whale Sharks one I drank because it's been out a while, and I thought everyone's seen that anyway. That was a good beer. I mean, it's verdant, it was a good beer. And the other one that I drank was the Daya one, and that was only because when I was doing the unboxing, I think I've inadvertently popped the lid of one of them, and it was that one, so I drank that. And that had experimental hop in it, and it was very nice. So I'm sure that a lot of these are going to be great, but look at that in a glass. That is thick custard. You can see out, I mean, just looking at the colour of that, you know that it's a thick beer. We've got 2 and a bit fingers and fairly compacted in terms of the head. I think that we might get that sticking around a fair bit. We might get a nice lacing with this. But that colour is beautiful. Really sort of, I mean, it transcends golden, doesn't it? It's beyond that. It's more of a sort of, I don't know, it's almost sandy, really. I've never used that word to describe a beer, but that's a beautiful colour, and that's the colour that you want, and that looks like a damn good double IPA. See what the aroma's like. Well, there's quite a lot of there's more tropical fruit in this. I mean, we've got Mutueka and we've got Rakau, they're New Zealand hops, but they're not really coming through. The other hop is Mosaic, and I'm getting more of that sweet berry sort of aroma, and lots of sort of undescribable tropical notes, mango and papaya and that sort of stuff. Pineapple. It smells pretty good, pretty inviting, and I think this is going to be quite a dank tasting beer. So let's see. Cheers, everyone. Wow. Oh, that's amazing. I thought I'd had so many amazing beers that I'm starting, that I wouldn't find new stuff amazing, but this is incredible. The first thing, the mouthfeel on this beer is probably the best mouthfeel on a double IPA. I can't think of one that says, it's almost like a smoothie. That it's almost like, some of those sours that you get that are quite, loads of fruit in, they're quite thick. Almost like that. It's got a lot of hops in, or whether it's all those different malts in there. Oh, the mouthfeel's incredible. And as an 8%, you think it's packed with hops, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's as overly hoppy as a lot of beers. It's quite, there's lots of flavour, but it's not hoppy. Sometimes the hoppiness of a beer can overtake any of those fruit flavours that you get from it. But this doesn't, I don't know, that doesn't have that effect. I think it's just well brewed. I was wrong, it's not overly dank as well. There is a nice, creamy, thick flavour that's coming through. But it isn't dank. I think it's just the mouthful of it. I'm amazed at how thick this beer is. I don't think I've had any sort of IPA. I mean, we talk about beer that medium medium body. Got the Uranus on the mind, but this, you know, it goes beyond. It is almost like a smoothie. Flavour-wise, it's just lots of very tropical fruit stuff. You're not getting much of that cutting through Motueka, the lime flavour. The Rakau, again, a very sort of, you know, very New Zealand sort of hop. You know, it's it can be a little bit more, has a little more pepper in it, but it has a lot of those characteristics. That's not really coming through. It's a flavour that's, I say it's not dank, but I don't think the fruit flavours that you get aren't bright. This is the difficult one to describe, but I think it's it's one of those beers that you drink and you think, oh, that's tasty. It's a nice, I say nice, there's quite a lot of sweetness actually. I think it's a lot of those malts, because I'm thinking, I'm getting almost that lager malt flavour. It's just in the background, but it's there. You don't usually get that in IPAs and double IPAs. I think that's nullifying a little bit of the hops, but I don't know if I can't work out if that's good or bad. So I'm flummoxed now by this, because number one, it doesn't drink like 8%. It's so smooth, and there's not really any hint of alcohol. It's not hop burn. It's not overly hoppy, but it's the mouthfeel's a real star. It's a real thick drinking beer. I think it's quite mosaic heavy, or there's certainly mosaic's the heavy stuff in there. So you're getting that sweet berry flavour, that little bit of bubblegum flavour. There's other sort of slightly over-ripened mangoes, maybe passion fruit, papaya, that sort of stuff. Not getting much in the way of citrus, not getting any sort of grapefruit or anything like that. There's no sort of sharpness or bitterness on the back end. It's quite unlike any beer that I've had, but it's still very, very good. It's tasty. Yes, the flavours are not popping out as such, but it's tasty, and it's the mouthfeel. I've said it in many reviews before. You know, if you've got a beer that flavour-wise is not the greatest, but the mouthfeel is exceptional, it elevates the beer. But at the same time, if you've got a beer that's got really great flavours, but the mouthfeel's a bit watery or too light, it can really downgrade a beer. And so this one, I think, is amped up because of the mouthfeel. It really is a great star of it. I mean, look at the lacing in the glass. Again, we don't see that sort of level of lacing on many beers. As I said, it's a very thick beer. You can see by it, as soon as I poured it out, it looked thick, but it tastes thick. It's almost like a smoothie. I'm a little bit flummoxed. I'm not quite sure how it's going to score, but ultimately, I think this is worth trying. If you haven't had it and you see it, give it a go. Or if you've had it, let me know in the comments what you think of it. Whether it's the same as this one, in terms of it's quite difficult to describe, but it's tasty and the mouthfeel is incredible. So let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Double Uranus. I say tomato, you say tomato. Let's call the whole thing off. It's a double entendre. Uranus is one of those words that everyone has a little childish giggle about. But this is a double IPA, 8% from Phantom Brewing. Motueka Rakau Mosaic. I don't know. They're weird. The hops are very difficult to unpack. But I love the beer. I think it's an incredible beer. The mouthfeel's great. It's tasty. It's just a difficult beer to really sort of describe and bring out those different elements to. But I'm going to go through the scores, starting with aroma. I score off appearance, flavour, value for money. I'm giving these high scores because ultimately I paid less than £3 for a double IPA. So I think it's great value for money. And finally, my overall experience. Tighten the scores up. We're in a highly recommended. It's a good start. Highly recommended beer. The heaviest of heavy metal. Iron Maiden of craft beer. 82 out of 100. It's a bit of a strange one, but it's damn tasty. I don't think many people are going to have a beer that tastes, a double IPA that tastes quite like this. It's not overly dank. It's not overly alcoholic either, even though it's 8%. The mouthfeel just elevates this beer to a much higher place. I think if you took the mouthfeel away from this beer, if it was light, it would have been it probably would have got into just the recommended. But because the mouthfeel is incredible, made my overall experience much better. And I've drank this down pretty damn quickly. Most of the time, double IPAs, I like to sit, but this one really tastes really nice, and you can't get any of that 8% in there at all. So let me know if you've had it. Phantom Brewing as well. I mean, I've had some good beers. I haven't had many from them. I've had a couple of them. One that was all right, and one that I thought was really good. I think it was the Peacherine one. I remember that one because it was the first time I had Peacherine. But I think they're one of those sort of breweries that are giving them high respect, but they don't release, so their distribution is not as great. Don't see it in as many places. I mean, as I said, I knew that there was all these space theme ones, but I haven't seen them. I haven't seen them in like Trembling Madness and in my local bottle shop. I don't seem to have them in. So I'm not sure whether it's just the distribution's not there. But let me know about Phantom Brewing if you had any great beers from them. And if you've had this one, let me know what you think, whether your opinion's the same as mine. But this is a very good double IPA. We've had some great double IPAs this year, and this one's up there with some of the best. So hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up. And subscribe if you're not a subscriber. We've got lots of double IPAs coming up because I bought that box of double IPAs. So that you're going to get a lot of double IPAs. I might intersperse some stuff if I've got some stuff in between that. But you're going to get quite a few double IPAs coming up. So if that's your bag, then definitely subscribe. And until the next one, you know what you do. Drink good craft beer and keep on rocking.